Who the fuck is Tom Bombadil and why should I care about him? Hi guys. So a while back I actually planned this video to be a review of the Lord of the Rings books, which I read for the first time over this summer. But then I kind of hated it and I'm extremely bored at the moment, so I thought, why can't we just chat about it, you know? Maybe I'll just, instead of reviewing the books, I'll just talk about stuff. I just want to chat, you know, just hang out, have a chill chat. Literally, if you don't film a video for like 2 weeks or something and you come back, it's like, what the fuck am I doing? So yeah, Lord of the Rings. So a bit of background information. I have never read the books before this summer. I've always loved the movies. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is one of my, are some of my favorite movies of all time. Literally, I could watch that shit every day. Did I actually attend the Harry Potter movie marathon, and was it not as much fun as I expected it to be? Yes. Would I sign on for a Lord of the Rings movie marathon? Yes. Except that now they're also going to force you to watch the Hobbit trilogy before that, so maybe not. Maybe I'll just skip that one. The Hobbit, yeah. I'm just going to talk about nonsense. I'm going to talk about my opinions, stuff that I didn't know happened in the books and I was kind of surprised by. Actually, I did write a lot of shit down, but I'm not going to read everything that I wrote down because who cares, right? So, the Hobbit book. Let's start off with that. It was fun. It was, obviously, it's meant for children. It's a children's book, so it's not going to have some of the bigger themes that Lord of the Rings deals with. But it was cute. I actually, after having read the Hobbit book, I do have more of an appreciation towards the Hobbit movies. Because, to be honest, the first movie isn't that bad. I actually really like the first movie. Yeah, all around. And then the second movie, I only liked the part with Smaug. And then the third movie is just kind of a big mess. I actually haven't rewatched the third Hobbit movie. I just watched the first one and maybe the second one if I'm in the mood for it, and then I just skipped the third one. But it's literally just this dumb battle and like no one cares, you know. Reading The Hobbit, I was actually surprised because a lot of like the adaptation is actually pretty accurate. One of the comments that was made about the Hobbit movie was that the dwarves didn't have a lot of personality, and it was kind of, it's difficult to get invested in the dwarves because we barely know anything about them except for like Thorin and yeah, that's about it. But that's also the case with the book. The dwarves don't really have a lot of personality, to be honest. You have like Thorin, who is the king, obviously, and he's like grumpy and has an attitude, you know. And then you have like, I haven't, like, it's been a while, I don't remember anyone's names, to be honest. You have like the young dwarves, that's literally their personality trait, they are the young dwarves. Then you have like the second in command, I guess, who is like Thorin's best friend. That's about it. I don't know who else was there, to be honest. I couldn't fucking tell you anything about any of those dwarves except for, and that's the kicker, Bomber, who I remember distinctly because he is the fat one. He is the fat dwarf, and Tolkien will remind you every few pages that he's the fat dwarf. And that's his personality. Literally. That's literally his personality. And I was like, why is Tolkien fat shaming poor Bomber? I was literally kind of feeling sad. I was feeling upset. for Bomber. Because I was like, poor fucking guy. Every few pages, literally someone would comment, oh, we can't do this because Bomber is so fat, so he won't be able to keep up with us. Or, like, Tolkien will just randomly mention, and then Bomber fell behind because he's so fat, you know? So yeah, fat-shaming Bomber, what was that all about? Yeah, other than that, The Hobbit is just, yeah, you know, it's just a nice and simple children's story, you know, easy to follow. Not a lot of, like, character development or anything, except for maybe Thorin and Bilbo. And then I was actually surprised that at the end, the part with the dragon was, like, the dragon was defeated. It was literally, they were building this up for the entire story, and then I was like, oh, wait. He's dead. It's over, I guess. Okay. But yeah, it was a fun little read. I liked it for what it was. Moving on to Lord of the Rings, which I was extremely excited about. Lord of the Rings, I was extremely excited. I started out with The Fellowship of the Ring, which is my favorite movie. I don't know why. I just fucking love it. Oh my god. The Nazgul. So it starts out. And I'm already like, what the fuck is happening? So, you know when you watch Lord of the Rings, the movies, and the Nazgul are like these really creepy Dementor types, guys that are kind of freaky and scary. In the books, not so much. Because, well, first off, they're always lost for some fucking reason. And you have literally people telling the hobbits at one point that, well, the Black Riders are after you. How do we know that? Well, because they asked us the way. I'm not making it. Literally, the Nazgul ask people several times. You know, like, you have that one moment in the movies when, like, one of the guys asks, like, a random hobbit, like, Baggingsshire, and it's all creepy and stuff. But this happens, like, 5 times in the book. You literally have 5 times a scene where, like, a Nazgul is like, hey guys, maybe we should ask this random hobbit for directions, you know? And they're literally always like, hey, you know, we're kind of looking for this guy named Frodo Baggins. Maybe you've heard of him? Can you like show us the way? And I was like, am I supposed to be scared of these guys? Because they're kind of really polite and just lost, you know, just help them out. It will be fine, it will be fine. To be honest, you could have just pointed them into the completely opposite direction and, like, the hobbits would have been fine, you know? Where the fuck is this fucking hobbit? Funny, yes. Scary, not so much. Also, I didn't expect Lord of the Rings to be a musical. And if you know, you know. Because every few pages, a character will just randomly burst into song. Doesn't matter what's going on, doesn't matter who's in the room, doesn't matter the vibes that are happening, they just burst into song. Literally every few if you had to take a shot every time a character would start singing, you would be drunk and dead. And yeah, after a while it's just like, oh, we're singing again. Oh, we're singing again. I want Lord of the Rings the musical now. That's what I want. That's literally what I'm here for. Lord of the Rings the musical. Someone make it happen, because it's amazing. So another thing I have to briefly mention, who the fuck is Tom Bombadil and why should I care about him? If you could just explain to me in the comments, because I'm lost. Who the fuck is fucking Tom Bombadil? And why do we have to hear about him for like an entire chapter? I don't know who this person is. I was actually surprised that my favorite book, out of like the 3 parts, My favorite part was actually the Two Towers, but it's because the second half of the book revolves around Frodo, Gollum, and Sam. And Gollum is my favorite character. Just putting that out there. Gollum, bless him, is my fave. Is my problematic fave. I mean, I love everyone, obviously, but I think in the books, my favorites are most of the Hobbits. So I love Frodo, I love Merry. I don't know why, and Merry is just a fucking legend, I swear. Merry is a legend, we'll get to that. But I love Gollum. Gollum has always been my fave. Gollum is my fave in the movies also. And he's close enough to a Hobbit. Frodo isn't so much, like, his character doesn't stand out as much, but it's interesting when you think about Gollum being like Frodo's shadow. It's kind of, that makes Frodo kind of more interesting. I don't know. And he's just like so blasé about everything, you know? He's just like, so I have to take this ring of evil to this evil mountain while I get chased by these evil dudes who try to kill me? Okay. You know, I wish I was that cool about everything in life. I was also surprised, again, all of the bad guys are really not that scary. It's kind of funny. Maybe it's because they're humanized a lot more in Tolkien's world, but also the orcs talk a lot. And I know we got some like funny quips from the orcs in the movies also, especially that one scene that I always have to think about when that one orc is like, looks like meat is back on the menu, boys. And I'm like, do orcs know what a menu is? Like, do orcs understand the concept of a menu? Are there orc restaurants? Are there orc cafes? Do orcs just like... That's something to think about, you know? Because they just hang out in Mordor, right? Like, what do they do? At the end of the, like, hard work of doing evil, are they just like, let's go to the pub, guys? The orcs talk so much and it's kind of funny, and they have fights and they argue, those orcs, you know. Oh, I was going to talk about some of the characters. You know, I actually prefer some of the characters the way they're written in the books more so than in the movies, and some are kind of different. For example, Aragorn in the movie is literally like, don't mention I'm Isildur's heir, you know, don't talk about it, I don't want to be associated with that man. No. And then Aragorn in the book is like, what's up, bitches? By the way, I'm Isildur's heir, you know, just you know, so have you heard? I'm Isildur's heir. Yeah. I mean, not literally, he isn't literally like that, but like every time he opens his mouth, either a song comes out or him mentioning that he is Isildur's heir. And I'm like, okay, you know, own it, Aragorn, you know, own it. Another character that I do actually prefer in the book is Sam, because, and I'm going to get so much flack for this. Listen, I don't want to get hate over this, but Sam was never kind of my favorite in the movies. Wait. You know, like, Sam is a legend, truly. But Sam is just too wholesome for me, you know? He's just too good. He's literally like, I like the weird, messed up, problematic characters, you know? Like, I like Gollum. I love Gollum. I love Smeagol. That's my dude. Who is just trying, but he can't, and it's so tragic and angsty, and I love it, and I'm here for it. Sam is just too wholesome, but in the book, Sam is actually a lot more funny. One thing that always bugged me in the movies, and I think that this obviously has to do with my preference for Gollum. Am I a Gollum stan? Yes, I am. Obviously, yes, I am. I actually forgot, in the Hobbit, in the book, in the Hobbit movie and the book, obviously the best scene is Riddles in the Dark with Bilbo and Gollum. Amazing, fantastic, fabulous, nothing can beat it. Gollum for the win. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Gollum. So yeah, the thing that always bugged me in the movies is that Sam was so mean to Gollum. And I know Gollum is like evil and he wants to kill them and stuff. But like Smeagol is like that part of him that he still has that's like trying to be nice. And like, it's so wholesome when he became kind of friends with Frodo. And like that whole relationship is so interesting because for Frodo, like I said, Gollum is his shadow self, so Frodo sees in Gollum himself and like the possibility of what he could become if he gets consumed by the ring. So for Frodo, he has to believe that there's some part of Smeagol that can come back from this, which he also mentions in the movie. But like Sam is so mean to Gollum, and I don't get it. Like, okay, yeah, I know he's like suspicious of him and stuff, but he's like so mean to him. And like in the book it's a lot more balanced, and Sam is actually pretty like chill. He's like more chill. He isn't as mean. He is at some point he actually fucking calls Gollum Mr. Gollum, which is the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my life. Mr. Gollum. I love it. Gollum and Sam have like this more of a back and forth, which he also has in the movies, but still, it's a lot more balanced, you know? They are like equal opportunity assholes to each other, basically. One thing I wanted to talk about in terms of the Lord of the Rings lore and fandom. In terms of the Lord of the Rings all around. So the movies and the books got one thing really wrong in my opinion. Really wrong, and once you see it, you can't unsee it, at least I can't. And it's going to haunt me and bother me for the rest of my days. Merry and Éowyn should have ended up together. I'm just putting it out there. Just think about it. It makes so much more sense. And we were literally robbed of one of the most interesting ships in Lord of the Rings. No, it's so wholesome and it makes so much sense. I don't get it. So in the movies and in the book, Éowyn ends up with Faramir. In the movies, it's much more behind the scenes stuff. Well, in the books, it's kind of the same. It just kind of shows up and then they're like an item. And I'm like, what? Where did this come from? Why is this happening? Especially after, like, think about it. First off, they kill the Witch King together. If that isn't the stuff made of romance, then I don't know what is. Working together to defeat the fucking Witch King. And then also, in the book, there's like this little scene that's very interesting. When Éowyn dresses up like a soldier, like a male soldier, to be able to join the battle. There's this one scene where Merry sees her for the first time in her like get-up, and he has no idea that it's her, obviously. But he sees her and he literally is thinking like, oh, who's that guy? I've never seen him before. He's like, oh, hello there. Who are you? And I'm like, bro, more fuel for my ship, I swear. Y'all, just think about, just give it a chance. Just give it a chance. It's so good. It's so good. So it's like they have a lot in common. Obviously, again, we see that when they want to join the battle to fight for the people they love and the world they love, but they can't because she's a woman and she has to like lead if in case something happens to her father. And then he is a hobbit, so no one kind of believes in him, and they think he's not of much use to them in a battle. But then they fucking defeat the Witch King together! I'm like way too excited over this. It's kind of sad. It would be sad if I had a life, but I don't have one, so it's fine. Also, Merry, so precious. He's even funnier in the books because he is always ready to fight someone. And that's also something they both have in common. They are the first people who will literally be ready to fight someone. The book is a bit different. Obviously, they return from the whole war and the Shire is taken over by Sharky, which also What was that choice, Saruman? Really? Sharky? And then, so the hobbits have to kind of win back the Shire also, and Merry's literally ready to fight some people. He's literally like, you know what, I'm gonna fight these guys. And it's, yeah, what a legend. A petite legend. Same. I think I've covered the basics. Sharky. That's kind of what I think about Lord of the Rings in general. Here are my very interesting thoughts. Here you go. Enjoy. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.